Hey there, my name is Daniel and welcome back to my tutorial series. This one is the second installment of this series and we'll talk about a little more advanced selectors inside CSS. If you missed my first video, go check that out. And if you haven't, then welcome back and let's get started. So inside this example, you'll see that my HTML structure involves an ordered list with some list items and then an unordered list inside this one and then an ordered list on the same level of the unordered list and then blah 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 blah. You'll see that why we're using it in a second. So to target all these, we learned in the last lesson that we can use our allies to target, and we'll give it a color of teal, and we can see that each ally in this document will get the color teal. That works. What if we want to say that we want all our OLs to have that color? Oops. What happened? Our OLs get that color, but this is an UL. Why is it having this color? Well, this is having this color because color in terms of this is inherited. So these inherit this color, these inherit this color, and of course these have this color by default. But this one is not sitting inside an OL, and therefore it's not going to inherit this. So when we say UL, we'll see that this one's not getting it, this one's getting it, but this is a sibling. It's not a child. So this one's not going to inherit it. But because this one sits, this one is an OL or UL, this one will get it as well. But in here, we'll see that this one has a child, and that will get the teal color inherited from them. Okay, so let's see something else. Let's say we want to target, if we wanted to say that we want the OL and the UL to have the color, right? They're real colors, by the way. I'm not making them up. You can check them out here in HTML color names if you want to have some cool colors that you can use in your project right away. There's something called Papaya Whip and Peach Puff. The names are cool. Navajo White. It's not even white, by the way. Okay, so let's go back to our tutorial. So we see we have our chocolate and we have our teal colors, and all the ULs will get that. So the reason why the inherited color doesn't apply here is because this is more specific to this UL than this, which gets inherited. So a specific color will stand always before the inherited color. Now let's see, these are allies. In fact, these are not even OLs. So let's see what happens when you say color. Oops, not core. Color will be white. Let's see what happens then. Everything turns white. Why? Because these are all, after all, these are all allies. So it becomes more specific to them, and therefore they will get that color instead of the inherited one. All right, so let's continue on. Now, we are now going to discuss a couple of more advanced selectors, and the first one I'm going to show you is when I say I want an OL inside the UL. Okay, so what this selector does is, notice there's no there's no commas, which means that we are not listing multiple ones, we're not stacking them, but we are in fact seeing that we want a UL. So in this case, always the last one is the one that's getting targeted, which is not directly, but somewhere inside an OL. Okay, so let's say this is a UL item, which is inside an OL somewhere. This is an UL item, which is somewhere inside an OL, but this isn't a UL item. This is a standalone UL item. It's not anywhere inside an OL. Therefore, it doesn't get targeted. Okay, so let's swap these around. Let's see what happens when you say OL, OL. Now this one will select every single OL that sits inside a UL. Okay, so let's say this OL sits inside an OL, this OL, and this UL, this one sits inside a UL. So that's cool. Let's see what happens when it's like OL inside an OL. Now this OL sits directly or somewhere inside this one, and then there's no other ones like so. Okay, and then UL plus UL will be nothing because there are no ULs that are children of ULs. Okay, now let's see something else. Let's say that we want to select an OL that has an OL as a child. Okay, we see that nothing changed. So if we compare these two, nothing really changes. That is because there's no difference, but this one is called the direct sibling selector or direct child selector because this one will target everything that is directly a children. So this OL is directly children of this guy. Now, say we wanted to target, for example, an OL UL combo. See, this one will get targeted. But if we use the direct selector, you'll see that. And okay, let's, for example, change this OL to an OL to the UL, and therefore that will now, so that UL now becomes the direct child of this guy, and then that UL will become a direct child of this UI, etc., etc. Okay, so where we can use direct child selectors is, let's say we want to type in each ally that is inside. So we say we want an order list and we want every single ally that is inside that is the direct child of the order list. Now these are all allies, but they are not directly the children because they are encased inside the UL tags right here. So that's why they're not going to get selected. Whereas if you say this, everything will be selected except for this one because this is not the child of the UL. So there you see it. There's a difference. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is a plus sign. Now, what the plus sign does is you can see everything disappears because what a plus sign does is it will select everything that is, okay, I'm going to show you instead. So we'll say ally plus ally. We'll select everything that is directly followed, so is a sibling of, so this one will be selected if it's a sibling of this one. Okay, so we can see here that UL item doesn't get selected. The first one doesn't get selected in each one because they are not directly the siblings, or they're not directly the siblings of another ally item. They are on top of the stack, so they don't get selected. Now there's an important implication for this one, and that is if we use the universal selector, you can see that everything now gets selected, and that's cool. But this is called a lobotomized OWL selector, and this is actually used quite a lot, even by me in my own framework called Playground. Check that out if you want, to align items. So what this will do is we'll say that body, and you can see that these are the second children. This is the first children of body. This is the second children, so this one gets selected. All right, thank you for watching this. Go check out the next one if you want to learn more about CSS selectors. We'll talk about pseudo ones. And thank you for watching. Subscribe if you like it.